you know, it just might be, hey, you go play a game, see what it feels like. I hope not, but...
She wants to see BDD's Zed. She says Zed or bed in Korean there. A direct translation.
Yes, yes. Not sure if BDD wants to party so hard in this match, or given the summer split, actually, BDD's a 1 win and 3 losses on Zed. So.
They actually blue side banned Caitlyn. I don't remember the last time I saw that, but that makes it very easy for ROX to just go ahead and ban away Kalista. And a first pick Gragas.
I think the AD carry bans right there was Longzhu bans the Caitlyn, somewhat encouraging the Tigers to get Kalista, but Tigers banning Kalista in response. This sign says, Prey is the best. He always wins so easily.
Yeah.
And the portrait, oh, the Cho'Gath locked in.
So it is as we predicted, or as you predicted rather, Binu. The Cho'Gath coming in, and they will bring in the Xayah as well for Songyun. So we haven't seen Cho'Gath just yet. Did have some changes to his whole kit. He can stack up those feasts a lot now. And he, you know, I think it's like less mana on his Q. His silence is, it lasts a little bit longer.
And there it is. He had a little cameo in the Maokai video, but now he gets a little highlight of his own.
It's a little, it's
the
pretty
Cho'Gath
big.
Is coming in and, again, focusing on Mighty Bear. I mean, that has to be the reason why they put him in. He shares way too many champions with Seonghwan. He has to bring in, you know, that must be the only reason. He's going to do something new. And meanwhile, Khan getting his Jace, not the best sign for ROX Tigers.
Yeah, not the best start here for this team. And they do have to give up BDD's Galio, but I'm sure they're not too, you know, they're fine with that.
So much going on in the pick bans. I get distracted by the Cho'Gath, and I look to the left, and all of a sudden, Khan's holding Jace. So looks like he's about to make it 8 wins and no losses on this champion. We'll have to see if the Cho'Gath could make a difference, but we're in the second ban phase now. Talia and Rakan getting taken out, as it looks like the ROX Tigers just wants to focus on this mid lane, try to keep BDD off the champions that he could affect the match with. Corki going out the window.
They're just pushing him towards Zed. They're like, I dare you. I dare you to pick Zed. Well, I think the chances of that are extremely low,
yeah,
especially with all the tanks we have nowadays, and especially already with the 2 tanks we have on the side of the ROX Tigers, but a man can dream.
He still has the Orianna, which he has 5 wins and 1 loss on, but I agree with you. It's basically up to BDD if he wants to party on Zed. He's always been that, ever since forever, he's always been the Zed, you know, master, the mechanical god. Songyun gives us a little bit of, yeah, Songyun, you're not playing that, come on.
Well, Garen did get changed, but it's not going to be him. Not with Jarvan available.
Covering the Kayn into Teemo, into Garen, and settling on the Jarvan, as we get to see what BDD might pick. I do agree with you, though. I hope it's a Zed. Let me just, you know, make that clear. But yeah, it just seems unlikely with Cho'Gath, Galio, and Jarvan. They're too beefy, and Xayah, who could... Yeah, there's the Orianna. The next most reasonable pick, I assume, locked in.
What will be the next one here? They need a support. They already banned away the Janna. So if they want to go more protecting style, they will have to pick up this Braum. Got to deal somehow with the Cho'Gath, Jarvan, Galio engage. You already know what composition Tigers are trying to go for here with just a gigantic front line of engage with Xayah. It's not the first time we've seen this. So they will rely on the Braum.
I worry slightly for the Tigers because it feels like their composition is a little too... Turret also making his way into this game, possibly. But as domestically, the Koreans like to call it walkies. Champions with no mobility skills, no movement, you know, dashes.
Walkies.
Yes, walkies.
Wow.
Or walkers if you're into zombie movies or something like that. But there it is, the Tarek locked in, and a lot of walkies on the side of the ROX Tigers.
that Tarek is so interesting. I mean, generally you would go for some kind of engage or something, you know, to be more of a front line for this Xayah, but I suppose they want even more tankiness after the engage.
I think they're really thinking about, you know, getting up close and personal with Jarvan, Cho'Gath, and Galio. They want to ignore the initial burst of damage that might come out from Longzhu so that Cho'Gath could actually get in there and do his thing. Obviously, Cho'Gath being the walkie of walkies. I really like that term. I'm starting to really, you know, get fond of it. But
Tarek confirmed walkie-talkie.
He needs a little bit of help, right, Cho'Gath? Me personally, I would have liked to see something that either speeds up the Cho'Gath or offers a little bit of mobility from like a third source. But the Tarek makes sense here, as he does still offer a stun and healing, sustain.
Yeah, I mean, again, he got buffed a little bit, as did Cho'Gath. So trying to make the most of these recent changes, I suppose, but pretty solid composition from the side of Longzhu as well. We didn't talk all too much about it. Khan gets his Jace, nice bit of poke damage. Once the Tristana gets high enough in levels, if they're ahead, they're gonna have so much poke with Jace, Orianna, Tristana, it's not even gonna be funny. And then they have nice engage with Braum and Gragas as well, good disengage too, to deal with this very tanky, you know, getting down and dirty lineup of the ROX Tigers. So we'll see if ROX Tigers can come back. I think it's going to be a very hard feat, but it'll have to start here on the Rift as we jump into game number 2, the ROX Tigers versus Longzhu.
And as soon as the game begins, Longzhu pinging that top lane tri-brush. Looks like they want to do something at level 1 here, but decides against it.
Well, we all know what happens when Jace players go for acceleration gate first and run up into that particular brush. People get in trouble, but we won't talk about that here, as it seems like he almost definitely did not go for that acceleration gate. They were just going for a play, but Linderon got there in time.
Well, they were pinging the tri-brush and ran up there, didn't put down any wards, just kind of looks like in the middle of it, somebody said, hey, let's not do this. And that was the end of that. Although they are posturing as if they want to get a little bit more, specifically onto this Raptor camp.
They have a trio of champions here that could definitely steal a bunch of the small Raptors. And it will affect Cho'Gath's original path, as he is starting on the red. So I'm just going to use Khan and Cuz, the duo that we all know and love, to help out Cuz and have him steal almost all these Raptors, or maybe just all of them. There you go.
ROX taking all the little Raptors on the bottom side, or you know, the opposite side of the jungle, but Cuz a little bit ahead as he did clear the full camp. And they should know where he is. I mean, he just showed his face after eating the Raptors, so ROX Tigers at least have that early knowledge. And the Cho'Gath jungle, what I'm really looking at right now, apart from, you know, the obvious excitement of watching Khan on his Jace again, pushing out Linderong early on already.
Yeah, you can see what he does. I mean, he takes Shock Blast first, he walks past the minions. What is Jarvan really going to do? He's going to stand there and take it. That's exactly what he's going to do. So because of this pushing, Khan hits level 2 first, and he's just so oppressive in that lane, especially against melee champions. It's either you go up there and you accept the trade somehow, which is very hard to do as a melee champion at level 1, or you just back off and let Khan totally dominate the lane with that Jace.
Now, speaking of knowledge, Longzhu also with the correct read on Mighty Bear now is BDD. Just decided to walk down to the river and actually caught a glimpse of Mighty Bear farming the Scuttle Crab. After that, Gorilla himself moved up towards the Dragon area, confirmed that Cho'Gath was no longer there, so now they know that Cho'Gath is either, you know, next to the blue buff or the Gromp, which he exactly is, as he now recalls.
Yeah. I always love when not much is going on that they put the camera up here towards Khan on his Jace. But always a treat to watch.
When in doubt, top lane.
Yeah. Usually it's 2 tanks, but not the case here. Cuz looking for something just at level 3.
They don't know yet.
He has snuck into this brush, but
Too much distance.
yeah.
They're too comfortable and cozy up in their little nook.
At the same time, I mean, the Tristana, one of these champions, you can push without mana. You just go ahead and auto the lane, and you just sit there and push, push, push. That's what Tristana does. So, Cuz even, you know, stopping by, even if he wasn't going for the gank, he's keeping that lane safe and spending a little time down towards the bottom side of the map, whereas Mighty Bear, he's nowhere near. Just coming up towards the top side, looking to place a deep ward in the left side and actually go for a gank up in the top lane. If they can combo onto this Jace. Oh, Connie stepped forward with a missed flag and drag, and that should, we'll see if he can dodge it. No, he gets knocked up. There's a lot of damage coming out. Khan, he's not even gonna flash. First blood goes over to Linderong on the Jarvan.
You know, I just let out an exclamation when I saw the flag and drag miss, but I feel like Khan really misplayed that, not even using the flash. I mean, after you don't get hit by the Jarvan, the only thing you need to avoid is the Cho'Gath Rupture, which feels like a pretty straightforward skill to avoid. But he decided to turn onto Mighty Bear and just never use the flash.
Yeah, I want to see the replay of that, actually. Let's go ahead and watch again. So you can see that the flag and drag misses, but he silences into the knock-up, so no flash can come out. And Khan just trying to dodge it, which means that he has to go towards those other guys and just take a lot of damage. The changes to Cho'Gath's E means that it does a lot more damage in a short period of time. That's actually really good for ganks because he does a decent amount of damage.
And his silence duration has been increased at lower levels, so maybe Khan not too familiar with the Cho'Gath himself. You could see what he was thinking. He's gonna jump onto the Cho'Gath and then flash out. Well, as soon as he jumped on, Mighty Bear used the silence, and after that, the Rupture was almost guaranteed to hit.
Yeah, so good start up there as they knew that Khan was going to be just pushing it 24/7 up in the top lane. And a very unique gank too, where he uses double blasting plant to avoid as much vision as possible for as long as possible.
And yet, Khan's still up in CS so far. He even invests in a control ward to make sure that doesn't happen again. Puts it in the tri-brush and calls for Cuz, maybe thinking of a gank of his own so that he could get revenge onto Linderong. Even the Shock Blast, you could see what he's trying to do. He wants to get him low and tender so that Chef Gragas could go up there and cook him up. Yeah. Is that a skin, actually, Chef Gragas? I think it is.
There definitely is a chef skin. I'm not 100% sure if it's Gragas.
Might be Olaf. They both have beards. I'm getting confused.
Yeah, I think it's Olaf.
Yeah.
I think you're right in that. But yeah, it's going to be hard to kill Linderong here, especially Ninja Tabby picked up. He's extremely tanky towards the Jace, which is where most of the damage is supposed to come out of, especially when Gragas is not level 6, doesn't have his cask, so they don't commit to trying to dive the turret or anything like that. So.
All right, so Longzhu, Cuz getting all up in Mighty Bear's face like he did to Sungwon in the last game. Although, if you remember correctly, they actually, you know, lost out a kill because they, overstayed their welcome, and I like what they're doing. I like how they decide, you know, we don't need to be here. It's a little bit too dicey, especially with that Galio in the mid lane. He could heroic entrance at any time. So, giving ROX Tigers the respect they deserve. And a stun that doesn't hit anything.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to line that up, even though it did get a slight buff. Not really working out in this game.
Galio was moving downwards just for a moment, so I thought he might, you know, actually make something really happen there, but still waiting.
Here comes Mighty Bear too, actually, all the way around. He was not spotted. He's going to ping that red buff. He wants to go in there first, but Cuz right now is recalling. He's not on the map, and so Mighty Bear will at least get that red buff, and he's going to be on the bottom side. You were talking about Galio. Here he comes. They're thinking about a play. But Cho'Gath isn't really in position just yet. He's actually not taking the red. He's waiting. And so I wonder how long he's going to wait. I mean, he's been here for like 20 seconds. Okay, there we go.
He has that feast, and if Cuz gets low enough, he might just unload his full combo and try to feast him.
Yeah, they're looking for the silence. Oh, but the cast comes out a millisecond before the silence. That's unfortunate. Will use the feast, though, on the red buff, and will secure that objective. So Cho'Gath having a good start so far in LCK. I'm liking it.
Again, it's the composition. He knows he has the Galio, backing him up, as well as the bottom lane, really dissuading Longzhu from pushing too hard. I was actually really impressed with their bravery, should I call it, in that they were even beyond the lane, just considering, the Galio, the Cho'Gath being on the south bottom side of the map, and Korean Gorilla still pushing, but overall, adding pressure and getting advantages, mainly through that red buff.
Yeah, we'll see if he can continue building those feast stacks and get to be gigantic, have a ton of health. The biggest tank on the Rift, if he can get there. I believe he is the biggest champion in the game with all those feast stacks on him. But
well, there's only two candidates. It's either him or Zach, and Zach's not in this game. We should be able to see Godzilla Cho'Gath in a couple of... I mean, if everything works out for the ROX Tigers, I would like to see that. That should be a skin. Godzilla Cho'Gath, why not?
I like that idea, I have to say. But hopefully someone from Wyatt is watching, and maybe they can put that in. Especially as Cho'Gath gains some more attention as he's back in the meta.
The only reason why I could think of not having Godzilla Cho'Gath is copyrights. I'm actually not sure who owns the Godzilla copyright.
But you can make him like, I don't know, like Godzilla or something.
Yeah.
Not exactly that, but it's because it's too obvious, but make him even just Dragon Cho'Gath, even though I think he's already some kind of dragon. Just make him look like Godzilla. That's all we want.
Now Mighty Bear going into the enemy blue side jungle. The tables have turned. It's no longer Cuz going after the enemy jungle, but Mighty Bear just strolling in, or waddling, I should say, as if he owns the place, and got some good vision onto the blue buff Thrush and the control ward in a great location as well.
Yeah. Not the most exciting early game, guys. I mean, this is just back and forth. These guys looking for opportunities for ganks, but nothing really making its way onto the Rift. It was a really cool gank out of Mighty Bear to start it off, but ever since then, they haven't made anything happen in bot lane. As Prey and Gorilla have been relatively safe with their pushing, and Khan has kind of backed off. He hasn't gone ultra aggressive as he is a little bit behind.
I agree with you, and I think it's mainly a factor of every single player being rather content with not having, an action-packed early game as of right this moment. Cho'Gath, he wants to farm, Galio wants to farm, and Khan and BD, I'm sure they're really comfortable with the picks they have as well, so not really dying or not really too pressured to make anything happen as of this instant. And Key and Gorilla, support say hi. And they know that Gragas is in front of the dragon, as the ROX Tigers are closing in. But it's still a Cloud Drake, and I would be really surprised if, either team really tries to go for a team fight off of this. I would be really surprised if the opposing team actually invites or takes the invitation to that team fight over Cloud Drake. So still might be a while before we see anything significant happening. Cuz taking these Raptors again as well.
Yeah. When you look at these two compositions, you have to wonder, what is this kind of passive early game? Which team is it going to really benefit at the end of the day? Who is going to have the better late game in this position? And we've already seen what Tristana can do late game. It's pretty ridiculous with her extreme range with the rapid fire cannon at level 18. So she's going to be really annoying to deal with. But you also have BDD, who's farming up very well, the most in the game in terms of CS. So he's going to be nice. Khan, he got a little bit behind, and the Jace does fall off a little bit. But, a decent split pusher and some burst damage if you're trying to get on top of Songyun. The Jace, though, I think, the more I think about it and talk about it, definitely going to be hard to make it past that front line. So now BDD in a bit of trouble. Will flash that knock up from Mighty Bear.
Early
make
flash
it to safety.
To make sure he doesn't get silenced or, hit by the rupture.
Yeah.
Good job avoiding the gank. And I definitely agree with you. It really is a question of who's going to be strong around, 20, 30, 40 minutes in. Although it does make it really tricky given the compositions because there's so many variables right now. We do have P, the Taric player here. And the Tarics we've seen so far, even including today, if they have the right ultimate, it makes all the difference. But
yeah,
if the ultimate just doesn't connect and envelop the right players, it just feels weak. Now, Cuz BDD heading up to the top lane, and this might be the gank that they need. This might be the dive that they need onto Linderong.
Khan just pushing as much as possible. There's the knock up. The cask is dodged, and a nice flag and drag onto Cuz, who's now eating the tower. Has to flash away from that. A totally botched dive by Longzhu, and here comes Mighty Bear looking for that knock up. That was incredibly close. He's going to get the silence down, but there's no real follow-up as Lava and Linderong were just hanging back.
Most definitely a disappointing dive attempt. There was a moment, like a brief lapse in time right there where Kruz could have just backed off, but he goes for the belly slam, I think it's called, onto Linderong and grabs tower aggro again.
Body slam.
Yeah, body slam.
They want to save this turret, but I don't think they can. The follow-up TP and the Cosmic Radiance, they're like, this is our First Blood turret. Get the hell out of here. They will trade turrets, but the First Blood obviously going to be nice for the Tigers as finally they get something rolling in a game against Longzhu.
So now that Longzhu has the bottom tier turret gone, the bottom lane and the top lane most likely going to just switch places as Linderong, his Jarvan's already down there in bottom lane to soak up the wave that is coming his way. And Longzhu, Prey, and Gorilla also heading up to the top lane.
Kind of worried for Longzhu, How much damage is Orianna and Jace really going to do against this team, right? An adaptive helm already picked up by Galio. No doubt Mighty Bear and Linderong are also going to pick up their fair share of magic resist. Gorilla getting caught up here is going to Glacial Fissure his way to safety. So back to my point, is Orianna really going to be doing too much damage? The Jace is going to fall off eventually. It's really going to be up to Prey and Prey alone to try to break through these front lines that are extremely tanky. With Thornmail in the meta and all of these tanks, and we've already seen how Tristana has trouble breaking through a front line such as this. It's not looking like all daisies and roses, all good things here for Longzhu.
Absolutely. I do have to respect Khan's Jace, but the Orianna is what worries me because if you think back, ROX, they're no stranger to having an Orianna in like a very tank-oriented composition on both sides. When they played against Jin Air, we had 6 tanks in the game, and ROX is Lava. He was getting 3 or 4-man Orianna shockwaves every time.
Just didn't matter.
Didn't do anything. Jin Air just brushes it off. Okay, we got hit by that. Let's keep going. In the end, the game just turns into, I mean, if this is anything like that match, this is going to turn into a matter of inhibitors. It's going to turn into a matter of who's got what kind of neutral objectives and positioning. If they could get on the AD carry fast, it should really close out the game, close out a team fight, but we might be seeing another 20, 30 minutes of team fighting just over and over again. That's a real possibility here.
Yeah, I think it was definitely up to Longzhu to try to get an early lead in the lanes, to try to use what damage they had through the 20-minute, 30-minute mark, as you were saying before, and just try to snowball a bit. But the Tigers have effectively stopped the snowball and the avalanche. They're just trying to slow down this game as much as possible. They get the one gank, they shut down the Jace, and after that, it's just been counter ganks, trying to keep everybody alive, just trying to farm as much as possible, trying to make it to a late game, because we were talking about Jin Air versus ROX before. I think the ROX Tigers took that game to heart, and they're like, hey, we could do that too. How about we add Taric as well? I don't remember who the support was for Jin Air in that game, but imagine all those tanks, and now they're invulnerable for 2.5 seconds. It's going to get pretty intense towards the late game, as long as we try to find a way through the brick wall.
And a lot more posturing continues. Key a little bit dangerous.
Okay, they're looking for mistakes like this. Shockwave is going to force the flash there out of Key. And now Sangyun almost landing that and getting really tunked out here. He's got to be careful, even with that Feather Storm.
Positioning. It's all that matters at this point. If you could get the right kind of damage on the carry, on the solitary squishy member of a tank composition, it makes all the difference. And Longzhu taking that chunk off of Sangyun and transitioning it into Rift Herald, I think they should be able to get this. Yeah, they're going to get this.
Yeah, and this is what the ROX Tigers had to worry about, right? They couldn't give small advantages like this to Longzhu because you give them an inch, they're gonna take a mile. And so let's see what they can snowball out of this Rift Herald. Sangyun actually wasn't able to go back home. He's still really low on both health and mana. So just trying to stick by. He doesn't even have his ult. In comes Linderong as well as Galio, but they're able to get out of there pretty easily. Cosmic Radiance coming in as well, and now Lava all alone. Don't really have the damage to get through them. That's a nice shockwave, but again, no follow-up. Linderong super low, but the Shock Blast goes an inch wide and cannot pick up that kill. Now Mighty Bear all alone in the front. You can see just how tanky these guys are. They don't necessarily die, but at least ROX Tigers were able to push them back. With the help of the Rift Herald as well, they do take down mid-turret.
That was actually a 4 versus 5, if I'm not mistaken, because Prey was so late in joining the fight. I mean, he rocket jumped in, tried, putting some auto attacks onto Mighty Bear, but very impressive from the Longzhu, squad, the 4-man squad to actually take on that fight. Let's take a look at it again.
I think Sangyun was, for the most part, out of the fight as well.
True.
I mean, this was basically Linderong trying to get in, and after that first engage didn't go well, they just turned onto the Rift Herald. So
and look at BDD and how close he is to the Cho'Gath. I feel like normally you might want to be a little bit more scared of at least the Feast. But eventually, good join up, link up by Prey, and he goes straight for the turret. So mid lane outer going in the favor of the Longzhu game.
Yeah, so they get a small lead here. They are 2 turrets ahead and only about 1,000 gold though. That's not that much, but Prey is in a spot right now where ROX is tanky, but they're not, tanky to the point where he can't deal with it. So I think he does have an opportunity here in the mid game with the help of the damage from BDD to really begin to blow up some of this front line. And especially if Longzhu can have disengages like the one they just had, where they're able to get out, they're able to use the casts to get to safety, and just have Braum with the Glacial Fissure for the disengage as well, and everybody just flashes out. It's really what they need to do. They just need to get away from these big tanks and not let them get near you. If they can kite for ages, they should be good.
Well, he's farmed, Prey has farmed really well, and I think we just kind of saw a glimpse of the drawback of ROX Tigers' composition. They have the Righteous Glory, they try to speed themselves up, but if they just can't catch up to you, I mean, Longzhu is relatively safe. And
okay, Key, you got out of position for 1 second. BDD is very, very fed right now. He has a Void Staff, so okay, this is kind of interesting, saying, okay, I'm just gonna
about to, wow.
Able to get out of there with the rocket jump as the silence does lose its effect.
Action going on everywhere, but Longzhu Gaming takes another inner turret. Key getting blown up there, I just have to fault his itemization. He just buys an Ardent Sensor, but that doesn't offer you a lot of tank stats. I think he just wants to, I get the reasoning, I make that, kind of decision all the time. If he gets the Ardent Sensor, the Taric heals, the Taric shields could envelop so many, targets. It might even give the whole team a lot of lifesteal and sustain. But you do lose out on an individual level, as we just saw there. He just gets deleted.
It means that you can't do stuff like this, especially when you're a walkie. Yep. As you said before, you don't have an escape. He doesn't have his flash. He's just going into a brush that has no vision. He almost gets himself in trouble. Really nice mechanics there from Prey, knowing exactly what was coming and actually baiting it out and rocket jumping to safety.
I honestly thought Prey was just dead there. Not sure why Mighty Bear didn't just go for the Feast. It feels like he's been holding on to that one for a while now. I think the only time I saw him feast anything was the red buff when he went down.
I saw him feast the Scuttle Crab. So he's definitely been building up stacks. You can see he's getting quite large. Still has yet to use it on a champion, as far as I've seen. So
every fight's a food fight if you're a cannibal.
It's very true. Although I don't know if he's a cannibal because he's not really human.
True.
But he does eat meat, that's for sure.
What is he really?
I think he's a dragon.
He's I think he's just a monster. I mean,
a monster from the void, perhaps.
Yep. Oh yeah, there it is. A void creature.
Void monster.
And engaged by lava.
Okay, they're trying to get on top of Songyun here.
Good
nice
shockwave.
Key almost goes down, but look at the damage in the back. Songyun, once he comes back from that Feather Storm, he's forced to flash away. Cannot follow up with that damage. Now the rest of the ROX Tigers are on the run.
Tristana's going to rocket jump forward.
He's going for it. What's that kill? He gets one. He's going to jump it again. There's the second. Coming in from behind. Here comes Khan too. The rest of the ROX Tigers are routed out of this fight. And Prey coming in from behind. The big guy on campus makes it in. And the Feast comes in. He finally uses it, but it's on a Braum. A little bit too little, too late.
Can they finish? They've got about 20 seconds.
I think they can.
Yeah.
It's only going to be the Tarek. This is going to be an extremely fast game just because of getting aced there with your inhibitor turret only alive. And wow, okay. That game had basically no action for the longest time, and then one team fight, one mistake out of the Tigers, and Longzhu is going to be able to shut them down and take the 2-0 victory tonight. As ROX Tigers, they're trying to do whatever they can, but they're just trying to make BDD's KDA a little bit better, and the rest of the ROX, or rather Longzhu as well. There's the 2-0, down goes the Nexus, exactly as we expected BDD, or Binu.
BNU, I guess.
Yeah.
Hammer to the face to close it out. And I just have to, if I were to point my finger, I would point my finger at T's itemization. He just wasn't tanky. He got caught out, and maybe if he was a little bit, he had a bit more health or resistances, Orianna wouldn't have chunked him out so heavily. It's not like BDD got super ahead either, But in the end, we had so many tanks. We had the makings of like a late game team fighting over and over again, that type of scenario, but that's all it took. And I think that was actually the fastest match we had tonight.
It was about 25 minutes, and it was definitely the fastest tonight. I don't know about the fastest of all time, but definitely a very, very fast one. And the ROX Tigers, they tried.
Yeah.
They swapped out junglers. They were trying different compositions on the blue side and then the red side. The Tarek is kind of underwhelming to me. It has to be played so carefully and so well, right? The timing it has to be impeccable. You have to basically be like just a timing god in order to make that pick work, and your positioning has to be excellent as well. Not something we saw tonight, that's for sure.
The Mighty Bear substitution really, meant for the Cho'Gath jungle, and I would have also liked to see what happens if ROX Tigers actually want with the Cho'Gath jungle. Does Longzhu ban it, or do they take it for themselves? I mean, the match is over, so it's little point mentioning this, but Cuz has also been playing that Cho'Gath jungle as well.
Everybody picking it up, seeing what they can do with that pick. Let's take a look at some of these plays. So Mighty Bear, he had a nice little gank up in top. Very well played, in fact. Even, well, not that, but Mighty Bear did a good job.
The silence, so huge into the rupture, and even after Khan doesn't get hit by the flag and drag, it does lead up to a kill. It was a good moment for the Cho'Gath jungle, but after that, I don't think he was particularly impressive in other moments.
It's like half the team is dealing with the Rift Herald, and half the team is going in alone. It's like just lack of communication, and they lack of teamwork for ROX Tigers. You can look at compositions, you can look at strategy and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, like even the fight in game number 1 where they just let Prey run rampant, it's like there was no communication, nobody to follow them, and Tarek ult is just going away as everybody is disengaging.
Exactly.
It's just all over the place right now for the ROX Tigers.
It just felt like the wrong idea, the wrong behavior to go with, given the composition, because if he's the first one to get chunked out every single time, how's he gonna use the Tarek ult, right? You need to be in range for that. And BDD Again, another 7.3k, you know, doing the highest damage in the game. I wouldn't be surprised if he just gets a solo MVP tonight. And looking at his score, 206. So his KDA continues to climb.
It's pretty ridiculous how consistent this guy can be. Consistently perfect, right? I don't want to say his play was perfect, but he doesn't die. Against these lower level teams, he's just like, no, I'm just not going to die. I'm not going to make any mistakes.
So reliable.
Yeah. That's what you need in the mid lane, right? That's why SKT was so good for so long. They had reliable Faker to always carry from the mid lane. Anyway, that's a topic for another time. I'm going to throw it over to Ji-sun for the translation.
Hi, we have BDD for the MVP interview. So how was today's match? I was kind of lucky. Every situation was really nice for us. Then how was the team fight? I could see the enemies were in a hurry, so we capitalized on it. But after the first game, you seemed not very satisfied. How did you feel? I wanted to perform more perfectly, but I couldn't, so I wasn't really satisfied. In which part? I think our teamwork wasn't really perfect. What was your plan with the Morgana? So we predicted the Rakan support, so we used Morgana to use E. So I thought it was a counter pick as a shield from the Rakan's CC, so we used it. And you're the one with the least stats among all LCK players. I just stay away from the useless fights. Who would you like to pick as the MVP for the second set? I think Prey. Then let's check out the VCR.
Well, here we go. Checking out the MVP for Game 2. It's BDD again. With 100% kill contribution, his shockwaves are a thing of beauty as he plays out just another pick extremely well.
1,100 points means he's tied with Smeb, I believe, right behind Kuro's 1,200. And just looking at how these teams are playing, I feel like it's either going to be Smeb or BDD at the end of the season. But back to the interview.
So it's BDD again. So then, ROX picked Cho'Gath. How did you feel? I've seen them playing it in the solo rank, so I could predict it. But we knew that they only had tankers and no damage dealers, so we could win from it. Talking about Cho'Gath, what kind of change do you expect from the 7.14 patch? I think AD carry will become more stronger due to the item buff, but we're still working on it, so I'm not really sure. What do you think about the LCK teams in rank competition? I'm not really thinking about other teams. I'm just trying to fight well and stay in the first place. Then last word for the season. We're going to keep on our perfect conditions. Thank you for your support. Any ceremonies for today's win? And this was the end of the interview. Thank you for listening.
BDD going for that. I mean, he's done it before. That's his go-to ceremony, it seems. The gun to the bullet to the dome.
I just love how they're like, oh, can we have a ceremony? Okay. All right, see you later, bye.
Slightly suicidal in my opinion, but no, you know, if you're a Longzhu fan right now, suicidal is the last thing you're feeling. Longzhu back on top, and look at the points. Another 2-0 victory. You know, KT Rolster, Smeb, or Score said, I want to really catch up in terms of points because I don't want to be tied with these guys and lose out just because of the point difference. Well, sorry, Score. Longzhu, another 2-0 victory. I think that makes it their fourth 2-0 victory in a row and a 6-game winning streak.
Wow.
17 points. And they're getting so close Longzhu stamping their name onto the summer split.
Yeah, if I had to pick one team right now to win all of LCK, with SKT falling out and Longzhu looking slightly more solid than KT and Samsung looking a small rung below them, I have to put my eggs in the Longzhu basket from right now. You know, my words could definitely come back to bite me if we see Longzhu face off against some of the stronger teams, you know, such as KT, such as Samsung, and they have a hard time. But as of right now, from this moment right now, I would have to say that Longzhu is looking the best. So
Well,
what are you thinking?
Speak of the devil, Brendan Valdez, because Longzhu's next 3 matches, BBQ, KT, and Samsung. So you might expect them to take out BBQ really fast, but that's really just for the comfort of the cushion, right? They want to get ahead. They want those extra 2 points so that when they do face off against KT and Samsung, you want a little bit of leverage.
Hey, you want to go in there as confident as possible on a 7-series win streak, and I think they can obviously do that. They made quick work of the ROX Tigers tonight, so I think they should do the same against BBQ unless we have some crazy upset. But yeah, as you said before, the big matches are the ones at the end. Like literally match number 90 I think is Longzhu versus Samsung.
Exactly.
So it's going to be a lot of fun.
We might even have a tiebreakers coming back tonight or that night. As it is on a Sunday, we will be seeing the Samsung versus Longzhu match as it happens, and if they end up tied, we might even have a 5th and 6th team down here at the Nexon Arena.
It's definitely possible. Right now, it's the fight for the top, and then like the fight for the middle. You know, for that wild card spot for spot number 5. So, Binu, it was a lot of fun having you on the desk. You know, just coming in and filling in. Thank you very much once again. As Crumbs unfortunately was sick today, wasn't able to make it.
Me personally, I can't wait to have Crumbs back, but thanks for having me, and that's it for us.
Yeah,
Thanks for watching.
We'll see you next time here, guys.